The cyber kill chain is a framework for understanding cyber attacks, analyzing intrusions, and planning your cyber defenses. It is used by cybersecurity professionals in security operations, incident response, and cyber threat intelligence to investigate and report on how a cyber attack happened. Let me show you how you can use it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Adam and I teach everything about cyber threat intelligence. I've helped build TTI teams, refine processes, and train clients on the best practices. The cyber kill chain is a fundamental framework in cybersecurity. You need to know how to use it. Let's start by exploring what it is and what you can use it for. The cyber kill chain is a structured framework for understanding the different stages a cyber attack must go through to be successful. It was created by Lockheed Martin in 2011, and since then it has become a staple in the cybersecurity industry. It is primarily used as a tool for understanding the progression of a cyber attack, and then developing strategies to detect and disrupt it. As a cyber threat intelligence analyst, you will need to use this structured analytical framework to analyze intrusion data, categorize intelligence in threat reports, and craft your own reports to give to key stakeholders. Structured analytical frameworks like the cyber kill chain, diamond model, and analysis of competing hypotheses empower analysts to perform consistent, comprehensive, and thoughtful data analysis. These frameworks, models, and methodologies help you make better decisions when analyzing threat intelligence. So what actually is the cyber kill chain, and how does it describe the life cycle of a cyber attack? Well, the cyber kill chain consists of 7 stages that describe the key objectives during a typical cyber attack. Let's look at each stage in detail to gain a better understanding. The first stage is reconnaissance. All cyber attacks start with gathering information about their target. This includes details like the target's infrastructure, the employees, technology stack, and potential vulnerabilities. This information helps adversaries plan out their attack, strategize how they will gain initial access, and solidify what objectives they want to achieve. At this stage, you will typically see attackers scanning networks, using social engineering tactics to get information from employees, and performing open source intelligence gathering to collect as much information as they can from the public domain. Stage 2 is weaponization. After gathering information, attackers must create or acquire the tools, exploits, and capabilities that will allow them to exploit the vulnerabilities they discovered. This may involve building malware or custom hacking tools, crafting phishing emails with a convincing pretext, or developing any other capability they require to weaponize the information they have gathered and perform a successful attack. After weaponization comes stage 3, delivery. Once an attacker has their weaponized payload ready, they must deliver it to the victim. This can be done through various phishing tactics, like email attachments or links to a malicious website, but it can also include other attack vectors, like targeting vulnerable services that are public facing, compromising the target's website, or gaining physical access to the target's offices. The delivery mechanism heavily depends on the information gathered during the reconnaissance stage. This brings us to stage 4, exploitation. After the malware payload has been delivered, it will execute on the target system and take advantage of software bugs, misconfigurations, weak authentication mechanisms, or missing security controls that provide the attacker initial access to a system. This stage may involve a vulnerability being exploited to gain remote access, or a user inadvertently executing malware on their system after clicking on an email attachment with a phishing link. Either way, the goal of this stage is to get unauthorized access to target systems and an initial foothold in the target's corporate network. This brings us to stage 5, installation. Once initial access is achieved, attackers will install a persistence mechanism that solidifies their foothold and can withstand password resets, system reboots, or security updates. Common persistence mechanisms include registry run keys, scheduled tasks, cron jobs, Windows services, and even exploiting the Windows startup folder. Stage 6 is command and control. With persistent access to target systems, attackers will next try to establish communication channels between compromised systems and their command infrastructure. This allows them to remotely control compromised systems and perform post-exploitation activities, such as exfiltrating data, escalating privileges, and performing lateral movement within the network. Many post-exploitation activities require attackers to upload hacking tools they developed or acquired during the weaponization phase to compromised machines using C2 frameworks like Cobalt Strike, Sliver, or PowerShell Empire. The final stage of the kill chain is stage 7, actions on objectives. At the final stage of a cyber attack, the threat actor looks to achieve their goals. This may include exfiltrating sensitive data, gaining access to a certain machine, sabotaging key infrastructure, performing espionage, deploying ransomware, or any other malicious action they were tasked with performing. So that's how the cyber kill chain works. It describes the typical life cycle of a cyber attack using 7 key stages, from reconnaissance to exploitation to actions on objectives. But why is knowing the kill chain useful to us? Well, let's find out. The cyber kill chain provides a structured model for understanding how a cyber attack plays out, what an attacker must do to be successful, and where you can look for them in your logs. This understanding allows us as defenders to identify potential security measures that we can use to detect or disrupt a cyber attack. Perhaps a recent cyber attack was stopped at the exploitation stage because your organization had strong endpoint detections in place. It would be best not to rely on these detections in the future and prevent the attack at the delivery stage. Using the cyber kill chain, you can strategize ways to do this. The cyber kill chain allows you to map your cyber defenses to each stage of an attack and assess which ones are effective, which ones are getting bypassed, and any gaps where you need new ones to increase your resiliency against attacks. Aside from strategic planning, the cyber kill chain is also a great reporting tool. It allows you to create an attack narrative that describes how an attack happened in a structured way. This helps non-technical audiences understand what an attacker did, what made them successful, and what can be done in the future to stop them. Your report doesn't just help your organization, it can also help other defenders learn from your intrusions and better defend themselves. Cybersecurity companies will often share intelligence reports that detail cyber attacks. The cyber kill chain provides a common language that analysts can use to describe attacks and share intelligence with others. This fosters communication and collaboration against cyber threats. Let's take a look at some of the key benefits the cyber kill chain can provide you. It provides a structured approach to defending against a cyber attack and investigating intrusions. It helps non-technical stakeholders understand the life cycle of a cyber attack. It can also be easily integrated with frameworks and methodologies that provide more granular technical details into what an adversary actually did, like the MITRE ATT&CK matrix. The kill chain also helps foster communication and collaboration across organizations by providing a common language for analysts to communicate their findings. When applying the cyber kill chain to a real-world investigation, it can be useful to map out the 7 stages of the kill chain and fill in each as you gather more data about the intrusion, creating a narrative of how an attack unfolds. Once you have mapped out all your current data, you can identify what you are missing. You might have spotted the exploitation method, but missed anything related to the command and control stage. At this point, you want to work your way up the kill chain and race to the end to complete it. This will allow you to assess the damage caused by the intrusion and contain or mitigate any remaining threats. After reaching the end of the kill chain and containing the threat, you will want to work your way back down the stages to map out the complete attack. This will allow you to have a full attack narrative and identify any visibility gaps or stages that need further investigation to connect the dots. For our demonstration, we will use this excellent write-up by the team at the DFIR report called Buzzing on Christmas Eve, Trigona ransomware in 3 hours. It describes how attackers exploited a publicly exposed remote desktop protocol host to gain initial access and deploy Trigona ransomware against an organization. At the reconnaissance phase of this attack, the attackers would have run scans for machines with open RDP and scout what security solutions the organization used. Generally, you will not have visibility into the recon stage. You might see some scans or a threat actor by credentials if you're performing dark web monitoring, but often the best way to defend against reconnaissance is to have a fully patched external facing services and good operational security that doesn't share any key security details, tools or strategies your organization uses. At stage 2 of this attack, the adversary solely relied on external RDP for access and persistence. No custom malware was needed. They still would have had to configure and create the bash scripts and executables they ran, the commands they used to disable Windows Defender and exfiltrate data using rclone, and adjust the Trigona ransomware settings for impact. Again, defending against an attack during the weaponization stage is difficult. Your best course of action is to ensure you have a small attack surface with no public-facing vulnerabilities that an attacker could exploit for initial access. This stage is more interesting from an intelligence perspective after an attack, when you begin looking for the human fingerprints left behind. Finding the human link allows you to track intrusions, create campaigns, and predict what adversaries may do next. For the delivery stage of this attack, the adversary gained initial access through an open RDP host using stolen credentials. They likely gained these credentials and discovered the exposed RDP host before targeting this organization specifically. For the exploitation stage, no technical vulnerabilities were exploited during this attack. The threat actors could compromise machines due to poor security and mismanaged credentials. They used batch scripts that were not detected by security tools. They used living off the land binaries and scripts, and they used RDP to blend into legitimate network traffic. They also moved quickly, gaining initial access and deploying ransomware within 3 hours. This speed allowed them to circumvent defenders and was fueled by a poor security architecture. Defending against exploitation can be difficult because you cannot account for every vulnerability in your organization's software. This is why defense in depth, segregated networks, and role-based access are key. You need to focus on limiting what an attacker can do once they are inside your internal network. At stage 5, for persistence, the attacker used local accounts that they added to the local administrators group and remote desktop users group. However, the speed of which they pivoted around the network, exfiltrated data, and dropped the ransomware meant these accounts were not used in the end. Defending against installation comes down to having technical controls that can detect or hunt for persistence techniques, and ensuring defenders have strong situational awareness. This was a smash and grab job. The attackers did not use complex C2 infrastructure or custom implants that evaded security controls. Instead, they relied on the organization's free use of RDP to pivot between machines and exfiltrate data. Defending against the command and control stage requires network monitoring and endpoint detection tools. The final stage of this attack involved the adversaries exfiltrating data to mega.io using rclone, and then deploying Trigona ransomware. Seeing these two actions take place in the system logs confirms that this cyber attack was successful and that the threat actor achieved their objectives. Once you have mapped an attack to the cyber kill chain, you can then go into it and use other frameworks like the MITRE ATT&CK matrix to add more granular technical details about what the attacker actually did. MITRE ATT&CK lets you add these details to your report, making it easier to operationalize the intelligence. Now that you've seen the cyber kill chain in action, here are some practical tips for using it. Integrate it with frameworks like MITRE ATT&CK, NIST's cybersecurity framework, and the Diamond model to develop a more complete and comprehensive defense strategy. Use the framework for reporting strategic threat intelligence. The kill chain is well suited for reporting strategic intelligence aimed at key stakeholders who don't need the deep technical details of an attack. Instead, it provides a high-level, narrative-driven overview of an attack that can be easily visualized. Use the framework to create an attack narrative. All reports should include an attack narrative that intuitively communicates how a cyber attack happened. The kill chain is perfect for this. It provides a structure for showing how an attack progressed and can be tuned to be more technical or non-technical based on your target audience. You should categorize and group data based on the kill chain. When investigating an intrusion, categorize IOCs, TTPs, and other data into each stage of the kill chain. This will make tracking what happened and what data you still need to find much easier. It also makes reporting easier as you already have a structure to follow. Use the kill chain to structure your investigations. The kill chain is a great tool to structure your investigations and ensure they are systematic, organized, and complete. It empowers analysts to quickly spot gaps in their investigations and fully understand how a cyber attack was successful. You should now have the knowledge and skills to use the cyber kill chain. I suggest revisiting the practical recommendations detailed and remembering the cyber kill chain is just there to structure your analysis. It can be as flexible as you want. Stay tuned for more deep dives into key CTI concepts and topics.